Bases dropped, and I actually hit the right buttons in the right sequence for another round of soccer down here. It's Thursday Thoughts, which means it's a power hour. And in 3 weeks or so, Power Hour will actually go back to expanded into its normal time slots and time zones when football comes to a close. John here, Jarrett there. And I have a question of the day to start things off. And I'll get into that. And I'm glad that Jarrett is here because we have to talk about yesterday. We have to talk about the chaos that was involved. We have to talk about the chaos that we almost had, chaos upon chaos. And we'll get ready for the matches at 10 and 2 in just a little bit. But first off, question of the day, the QOD. And it's, as always, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's the QR code right there in the middle of the picture, blocking your middle third, but you can still see Jarrett's avatar and my face. And I know that that's probably something that folks sit there and go, dude, can you have the QR code cover up your face? Some days that does happen. Kickoffcoffee.com, kickoffcoffeeco on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. And thanks to everybody who has picked up their Kickoff Coffee so far. And don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15 when it comes to Kickoff Coffee. And you get 15% off your purchase. And then they, in turn, take 10% and reinvest it into the youth game. Our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. Sean Vergara is officially back from Puerto Rico. So, and Sean, actually, the QOD is your response this morning. So I guess you were looking at my notes. This morning, Jarrett, it was temps in the 30s, or like 29 or whatever. And, we're finally, now that we're at December 1st, which is kind of shocking in and of itself. For you, how are you when it comes to cold weather? Because I'm not a cold weather person. I get it. I don't want a whole lot of it. I like the idea of having 4 seasons, but you go outside and it's just like blanking cold and you're like, man, and you want your car to start immediately and the car doesn't start immediately and it doesn't warm up immediately. You have to sit in the driveway. For you, when it comes to the cold, how are you when it comes to the cold?
I hate anything above 80 degrees personally.
Nothing wrong with that, yeah.
I was born and raised here.
Mm-hmm.
I hate hot weather with a passion. Every morning should be in the 30s and every afternoon should be in the mid 50s to low 60s.
Okay.
And I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like hot weather. I love cold weather. Part of this also is because one of my core memories is going with my dad to split wood literally every winter because we had a wood-burning stove, and if a tree fell within 10 miles of us, we would take the truck and go split wood, or go, he would take a chainsaw and go cut it up, and then we would take it back, split wood, feed the wood-burning stove.
Right.
So I have this core memory of 40 degrees, overcast. It had rained the day before, and we're just mucking around in the mud, trying to drag what is left from an oak tree into the truck. So cold weather is my preference. I like winter. I hate summer. And the day that we open SDH in Greenland, I will be there.
Okay. Just checking. Sean hates the cold. Now, you're going to have to define your terms. You can't just sit there and say, I hate the cold. You have to define your terms. So,
okay. Like I said, 30 degrees in the morning is great.
Yes.
If I can see my breath in the morning, we're there.
Okay.
Low 60s is about as much as I wanted to get in the afternoon.
Okay.
So the dead of winter in the south is about where I want it to be. I know that's different for people who are up north. I have friends who are from the north who have told tale of nightmare scenarios. I've not experienced those. I'm telling you what I enjoy, which is that range of 30s to 50s.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Yeah. So you just, when you walk out this morning and you're freezing, what's off. That's why it kind of kicked into my head this morning. Kefsi irrationally adds 2 layers and can't feel my fingertips even when it's 50. It's nonsensical. Sean, anything under 40, 50, changes his mind in the middle of his answer. And Kefsi says it's the changes that get you. You can acclimatize if it stays constant. And that is true. And I think that, Kefsi, you're spot on. when it comes to the changes, because you're inside and you're a certain temperature. You wander outside, in the morning when someone needs to be walked and wants to traverse the neighborhood and look like a steam engine doing it. And it's that initial shock wave that hits you. You're like, holy bleep. And it's really cold outside. So, I think, Kefsey, I think you're spot on. And Sean's just waiting for the sickness to come down. Going from hot to cold is bad. Yeah, that's part of it too. Just the sheer shock value of it, and the extremes. And the extremes always seem to get us when it comes to those kinds of things. And so, since we had the extremes of yesterday when it was really nice outside, and you wake up this morning and
yesterday was a weird day too, because it was nice, and it was like, I think it was warmer in the morning when I dropped Ivy off at school than it was in the afternoon when I picked her up.
Absolutely.
It's weird. Those days are weird, man.
Yeah, I mean, you were spot on because of the front coming through and everything like that. And I knew that it was going to be in the 30s and high 20s by the time we got on the show this morning. So, no, you're spot on. It's just, as someone who, morning, Bam, we're talking about cold weather. And whether we like it, whether we don't.
Please remember that Bam is in Australia, and thus, as the planet is in fact tilted on an axis, does not enjoy the weather we're enjoying right now.
Yeah. So Bam, when it comes to your fall and winter temperatures, it's another 3 weeks for us before we get to winter. How are you when it comes to fall and winter temperatures? Because yesterday, when the day started, it was, say 15. And this morning, when we're all wandering out and walking our pets, if they choose to be walked, it was like -1. And so we're all trying to figure out, okay, so you want, oh, wow, okay, so you want it in the 30s all day, every day. Okay, because, that's kind of what we were going here. It's just the sheer shock value of it. And that was why I brought it up this morning for the question of the day. So that's the and no doubt, Sean, that happened last night. And that's by the way, for those of you that want to hear about things on the College Football X, that's over on the OSG Sports side of things. New show traditionally comes out late Sunday afternoon, and we talk about things like the CFP expanding to 12 because the Rose Bowl said we ain't moving our time slot, and they finally agreed to that. So college football, and you're going to get the 5 through 12 games, the 5-12, the 5, 6, 7, 8 get the home games on home sites, actually, and then everything else gets integrated into the bowls. I just don't want my Bahamas Bowl monkeyed with. I don't want it played with. I want it to stay where it is. I like the bowl structure. I like all the obscure bowls and the obscure sponsors and the teams that are 6-6 playing each other. That's what I want. So.
Oh, Bam, I have no idea how the temperatures work, how your seasons actually work, but I can tell you that in Georgia, the seasons are very complicated because it generally goes from, summer to we get a first fake fall. At some point in August, we'll get a day where it's in the 70s, and you're thinking, "Oh man, fall's here. This is great." And then the next week it'll be 95 again. It'll stay hot for a while. Then we get another second fake fall. Then we get a third summer, and then eventually we get about a week and a half of fall, and then winter sets in.
That's true. And Sean, for the OSG on CFB, the bet, he's got a good QOD here. What's the best bowl game sponsor? Sean likes anything sponsored by food. Yeah, Kevsey, you ain't wrong.
The Popeyes Bahamas Bowl was great. Also, Popeyes Bahamas Bowl one year gave us that Western Michigan game where Western Michigan, where they pulled the lateral at the very end, went like 75 yards on a lateral, and then went for two. And then went for two to win it, and then called like a goal line fade to win it with a 2-point conversion. Just like, that was amazing. Y'all got to the point where we're going to go for 2 for the win and not settle for overtime, and you called a goal line fade.
Yep.
Man, that's such awful decision making on the back of brilliance.
Yep. Sean, and full disclosure, having covered the Outback Bowl game as a member of the media, best media spread ever.
Bam, I'm moving to Melbourne then, because I can live with heat if I'm gonna get variance. I just don't like the heat by itself. If you give me variance, I'm check to see if my company has an office in Melbourne. I know we have one in Sydney.
Well,
man,
we can always.
I need I need variance.
Yeah, I mean, we can always have AFL down here, and you could host that
Oh
if
yeah. Oh yeah.
and
Yeah, we can do that.
absolutely. But yeah, Outback Bowl spread was the best media spread for any bowl game ever. I mean, you got the grilled steak, you got the grilled chicken, you had the bloomin' onions. I mean, this is in the press box.
The, you know what? The spread of Jordanair wasn't bad back in the day when I used to work those games.
That's
Um,
absolutely true.
yeah, there was one. I think it was like 2008 or 2009. I was working a game. I was working a game for the immortal John Kramer for ESPN Radio at Auburn,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a 3D TV set up in the press box so that
Ooh.
people in the media could look at it and mess with it because they were trying to spin 3D TV as like the next thing.
Yeah.
So they had the game broadcasting on this 3D TV with like 5 pair of goggles that everyone else had already put on that already looked disgusting.
Uh,
Like, this is the future. I promise you it's not.
Ew. No kidding. Yeah. So when the USA plays Australia in the next round, what will the football world think? Well, we'll hash it out right here.
And that's going to be,
Yeah. Round of 8.
you know what? Hey, man, Australia showed you some cojones. I know Bam is not a fan of their current manager of
Of,
the nepotism, I guess, for
yeah.
lack of a better term, that
Yeah.
exists
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
But hey, man, they were fun, and they went and got the job done. And
Mm-hmm.
probably surprised the tournament is Denmark not only not making out of the group, but finishing dead last in the group.
Woo. Oh man, that was true. So that was your QOD brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, use the code soccer down here 15 when you go to kickoffcoffeeco.com or go to Kickoff Coffee CO on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Use the code soccer down here 15, you get 15% off. And don't forget that they in turn take 10% reinvested into the youth game. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at kickoffcoffeeco.com. So yesterday, since Bam has kind of brought the train back on the tracks a little bit, we were this close. We were this close, and I mean that this/close to fair play points, deciding who was going to go into the round of 16 from a group. That's how close we came. The insanity of the group involving Mexico and Argentina and Poland and Saudi Arabia, Group C, we were that close to fair play points. As we were all going back and forth and looking at Argentina and seeing what was going to happen in their match with Poland and what Mexico was going to do in their match with Saudi Arabia, when you got to 2-0 on both sides, all of us, and don't deny it, I know you were too. You in the collective, you in the plural collective, you were trying to figure out math. You were either rooting for yellow cards, not rooting for yellow cards, or trying to sit there and do the math and figure out who needed to go, or watching as an impassioned observer.
So here's the thing. To address Jason Nix's point real quick, because I want to get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Goals scored are a tiebreaker. The reason we were on fair play is because we were so far down the tiebreaker rabbit hole. Because Mexico and Poland were tied on goal differential, goals scored, goals allowed. I mean, probably how many of them had cousins twice removed?
Mm-hmm.
How many of them had moles on their faces? How many of them were born in the summertime under a quarter moon?
Yep.
We were at discipline points because everything up until it's what made it so wild. It's not that discipline was the second tiebreaker; it was like the fourth tiebreaker.
It was the fourth tiebreaker.
We went way down the rabbit hole of tiebreakers before we got to that. That's what made it so insane.
And it going in, there was a 2-point difference in that. And for every yellow card, it was another point. And so you're sitting there and you're trying to go, all right, who's going to get a yellow? And I think the point, it's like Yeah, I mean, Knicks, it was number 4, and we're all sitting there going math, and the Polish manager, I'm sure the manager for Poland is sitting there going, "Don't you foul anybody," considering that they came in with probably one of the more passive approaches to playing that we've seen by anybody on a match day 3 or a match day deciding day in quite some time. It's like Poland was just kind of hanging out. Poland was just kind of there. You got a guy like Lewandowski, and you're just going to kind of chill for the day. Just like 90 minutes, and you're kind of looking at your watch going, okay, how much longer do we have to be here at this party? Can we call an Uber? Can we get this done? And I mean, it was absolutely nuts. But then, yes, Kevsey, correct. Absolutely correct. Saudi Arabia constantly scored late in games. You can't fall asleep on them. Argentina knows about that. And the world found out about Saudi Arabia and took fair play points away from us. That's how nuts it was yesterday in Group C. And so, Sean, are you the only one that feels bad for Tata? I don't think you are. You could tell, you could tell that Tata was truly, he was flustered and his hair was going 9,000 directions. And, it was, you could tell that everything was being invested, but Mexico just did not have it.
To answer Bam's question, yes, there was some media. Okay, so Bam, I can tell you that it depends on what corner, as with many things in life, it depends on what corner of the internet you live on to see what you're exposed to. I live on what we would refer to domestically as the sickos corner of the internet. The sickos, those of us part of the sickos committee, and those who abide by the sickos committee,
Yes.
find the most insane and just the dumbest possible games. The dumbest possible games we could possibly find to watch, and then the beautiful fans that also support those dumb games. That corner of the internet was well aware of the Australian celebration. It was enjoying the Australian celebration
Mm-hmm.
because you're not the first person I've seen say that you were in a win-win situation because Arnold's out if you don't get through, or you get round to 16 play, which is really cool. Um, so the celebration was covered depending on what corner of the internet upon which you live.
Yes, absolutely true. And the photos were epic, and the partying and parading down the streets was equally epic at 4 o'clock in the morning. So very, very cool stuff that we got to see from Australia after advancing into the round of 16. But yeah, Jason, you're not alone. Uh, Jason Nix feels like Tata was doomed with Mexico, but yeah, he feels bad for Tata as well. And I think that that's probably here in our footprint. It's probably, Jarrett, I think it's the prevailing opinion is that you were following Tata and you're like, yeah, this might not end well, and it didn't. And I think that you can still see that Mexico was doomed, and yes, you can feel bad for Tata. It's not something that's mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I mean it's often the point that I like to go through um, with people about these sorts of things. Is like, you can live in the gray. Not it doesn't have to be black and white. You can feel bad. You can feel bad for everything that happened with Tata.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And yeah, that it went down the way it did. Um, Yeah, but and for the record, like if you want, like Australian Sickos Committee would basically be the 2018 Grand Final with Collingwood and West Coast. Sickos would have loved that. They'd have had a
Absolutely.
ball with that one. Even better if you have like a bunch of attempted behinds that just bing off the post.
Oh.
Yeah, that would just be right up their alley. But yeah, you can live in the in between. You can live in the gray. That's okay. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make you. It doesn't mean it's a cop out. It doesn't mean you don't have strong feelings about it because yeah, you can feel a certain way that hey, I mean uh, Tata brought like this air of seriousness when he came to Atlanta United of oh man, they are not screwing around, they just brought
Mm-hmm.
in Tata Martino
Yep.
and that was awesome. um, but aside from that, like you can also feel like this sense of like Schadenfreude that Germany, sorry, as dropping German terms, as Mexico, Germany's got their own problems to figure
Yes,
out.
they do.
Speaking of which,
Yes,
that'll
sir.
be later.
Yes.
But this sense of like Schadenfreude and Mexico getting eliminated because it's Mexico's own fault. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're passive. They just kind of meandered through the first two games until they kicked it into high gear. And some of that might be on Tata. Some of that might be on players. We know they can't score consistently. We know that's been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, they probably should have put 4 or 5 past Saudi Arabia yesterday.
Uh-huh.
I think they
Yeah.
put the ball in the net 4 times. I think he got called back twice.
Yeah.
Correctly.
I think so.
But it's also, I mean, we can also have this conversation about like, because I saw like the thing from, I think it was Telemundo put out the thing of to Messi. It was like a picture of Messi's shirt without Messi in it. It was
Yes.
like,
Yes.
when we needed you most, where were you? How about y'all don't need somebody? How about y'all have a situation where you don't need Graham Zusi or Lionel Messi to get you through? And if you think it's on Tata, fair. But, you know, you put yourself in a weird situation to begin with, and you knew it was going to be a tough group. Don't get me wrong. You knew it was going to be a tough and weird group, but you just kind of meandered through parts of it, man.
Yeah. And that's key here. I think that Mexico waited too late. I think that they might have taken the group for granted, and then all of a sudden, then their approach for granted, and the players as well. Then you get to match day 3, and it's like, oh bleep, we have to do something here. If you'd taken care of business early on, where you
it's the same issue I had with the United States when you're going into that game with Iran, where you have to beat Iran, and like, you know what? If you'd have taken care of business in the second half against Wales, you wouldn't have been in a situation where you had to sweat out 50 plus minutes against Iran, where, you know, after Christian Pulisic gives up his wedding tackle for your survival.
Yes.
You put yourself in these weird situations. Don't put yourself behind the 8 ball. Germany, I'm looking at you. You've put yourself behind the 8 ball. And I know, like, Johannes, for instance, who is from Germany, is one of the most critical people of Germany that I know, of the German national team that I know. And I'm sure he feels a similar way, and he probably has more complex feelings about it because he has his finger more on the pulse of the German national team. But, man, leaving it to the last day it's a decision, man.
Yeah, that is a decision. Yeah, and I mean we'll get into Group E and Group F here before we go. 10s and 2s today for that particular activity, but yeah, I mean you look at Group C yesterday, and I think that, and Tata Martino went into his press conference and said that his contract was up the second that referee's whistle blew and that they didn't advance. So now the cycle starts anew for Mexico, trying to figure out who their new national team manager is going to be.
So here's my question for Mexico, and I actually, it's funny. I only know like 3 friends of mine I grew up with who are Mexico fans. I know an insane proportionate number of Ecuadorian fans against Mexico fans, so it's weird for me to have this conversation. Is Mexico just going to go to another retread? Is Piojo going to like successfully politic for this job? Is it going to be one of the same guys it's always been? Do they have a young Mexican manager they want to go to? Are they going to go outside of Mexico to get their manager like they did with Tata? Like, is it going to be a retread, or are they going to go out of the box?
Becca Sese and his flow.
Man, Becca Sese might. Here's the thing, man. Becca Sese is the kind of guy who, if you lock him, if like a Mexican media member locked him up, he's going to stab himself to make sure he can stab the media member too. The man will bring a knife to a knife fight. He will bring the biggest knife he can find to said knife fight.
Yes.
Becca Sese with the Mexican media would be a pay-per-view event.
Yeah.
And I would pay money for it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not that's how it goes.
Well, and Bam has an excellent point. Do you get Hervé Renard for Mexico? considering what he did for Saudi Arabia. Bam would take Irv Renard for Australia. I mean, you find another up and coming nation, and you bring in Irv Renard with what he's been able to do with Saudi Arabia. I mean,
I don't hate the idea, especially for Australia. Mexico thinks really highly of itself, though.
True.
Even if they slip behind the United States and Canada, they still see themselves as, the kings of CONCACAF. It is an eternal battle between them and the United States. Canada has decided every now and then somebody comes up and they just kind of slap them away, whether it's Costa Rica a cycle or two ago, whether it's Canada this cycle. In their eyes, though, they are always trying to keep a hand on the U.S.'s head to just kind of stiff arm them away so they can keep the top of the mountain. Problem is the perception of being on the top of the mountain and being on the top of the mountain actually are two different things.
Yeah.
And that's something that Mexico's got to contend with. Will they go for somebody like that? Will they want to go with unknown quantity for them that has gotten them through before? Mm-hmm. Or do they want to get weird with it? Because Tata was a little out of the box, I guess. I mean, we wanted him here of the United States, and I'm interested to see what that would have looked like.
Yeah,
Tata running the U.S. Because a lot of Mexico's things for me still boil down to Mexico can't score consistently. That was a beautiful free kick yesterday. They cannot score consistently.
Luis Chavez, that was awesome.
That was a thunder bastard into the corner.
All right, so we know that the Martino era is over, and Nix will get into. All right, so here's some of the candidates that, according to our friends at CBS Soccer, and this is from Sandra Herrera. So Sandra Herrera has a short list of 4. Tuca Ferretti, Antonio Mohamed, Matias Almeida, and Miguel Herrera. And we bring Nick.
Miguel Herrera is going to slide you a 20 to put his name in that list.
Well, he's also a part of the coverage for Telemundo. He's there.
I know. He also has been trying to get Tata Martino fired so he can get that job for the past, I don't know, year plus now.
Uh-huh.
I would have thought that people in CONCACAF would have learned not to hire analysts covering an event. I thought that, like the United States with Jurgen Klinsmann when he was in 2010,
Jesus Christ, yes.
There is no one here who can manage this team. You must put the people on the field who can do this. And nope. Mexico, learn from us.
You know what? I hope Bam will back me up on this. Just wait till we get U.S. national team manager Ange Postecoglou. No one's ready for that. Because that's another guy who, I know we don't get, warfare. We talk about warfare with, the Mexican media and the Mexican coach. We talk about it in Argentina especially. That man if you ever got him out of Glasgow and, put him in charge of this national team, and U.S. media's not ready for that warfare. That man's petty as all hell. Mm-hmm. I need it. That's assuming Australia doesn't call him again. Allegedly, Japan tried to get him, and he said no. I wonder if Australia tries to call him again after his recent turn up in Scotland.
And so, Bam, to your point, says that Ange going to the U.S. and have them smashing Australia would be amazing. Morning, DM Tim, and thanks for the subscription once again. Sean says that Irv Renard's going to Houston. Irv Renard and the open collar going to South Texas.
Houston's already got they already settled for Ben Olsen,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and settled being the optimal word.
Yeah.
Yep. Nick, in the first half hour, we were discussing fair play points and just how far down the rabbit hole it got yesterday in Group C.
Oh. That's it's premium sickos energy when you start getting into fair play points. I mean, but I just don't know what else you're supposed to do. I mean, it's
35-yard run-up shootout.
Really what you could do is in this world of Zoom meetings and Teams calls, what you should do is if you have two different teams with 2 different stadiums, you say, okay, we're going to get the the other teams that are not a part of this showdown off the field.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna have then you're gonna have like some kind of like free kickoff or something
A
like that.
dance off.
Yeah, the other team's goalie has to stay in, and then you can you do like free kicks from however far out you want to go to make it, or you have to hit targets in the upper 90 or something. I don't know, something like that.
So it's like the layup.
35-yard kick, 35-yard shootout.
There
Yeah.
you go.
The run up.
Yeah, I mean, like just something, anything that puts the ball at someone's foot, so we don't have to go to yellow cards, because that's stupid to me.
And Bam, to your point about Ange smashing Australia with the U.S., there's a football coach in the United States by the name of Paul Johnson who once left his school, Georgia Southern. When he left, a gentleman by the name of Brian Van Gorder took over that program and then got rid of the triple option, which is a very classic style of American football. And so the story goes, Paul Johnson called his athletic director at the Naval Academy and said, "Get me a home and home with Georgia Southern so I can beat their ass and show him what the triple option can do." I feel like that's what Ange would do. Ange is going to get in charge of the U.S. national team, like walk in the door, like, "Okay, I need you to get me a friendly with Australia. We're going to call in everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to call in every first teamer. We are going to call in everyone we can, and we are just getting this done right now. We are going to drop 6 goals on them." I think that's how that would go. It would be very Paul Johnson.
Oh, it would. No question about it. So Nick, out of C and D, we have Argentina and Poland. Poland advances for basically doing nothing except kind of chilling out and watching the world go by. Mexico goes home. Tata is also Nick's asked the question. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh yeah, Nick's asks, do they even give Tata a plane ticket home, or do they just say peace out? I don't think he gets kiffined, but I think he has to find. He might have to find his own transportation on the way home, though, Nick.
Well, if I'm Tata Martino, I'm probably booking my own travel home anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want the Federation handling one of my bags. I don't want them handling, my seating assignment. Nothing. Just look, get me the most. I'm booking the, the premium airline with the sleep lounge in first class all the way home. There's no way in the world the Federation. I don't even touch Mexican soil if I'm Tata Martino. Nope, going right back to Argentina.
Oh, he's going right back to Rosario.
Yeah. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna hang out with the wife, the grandkids. I'm gonna get an NBA, the NBA league pass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. No. I sincerely hope Tata did not get on the plane, because it would be, there's no guarantee that at 27,000 feet they don't open the door and chuck him out. So no, I'm not touching it.
Well, and go ahead, Jarrett.
Yeah, we talked about this. I hope that Tata is, as he has done, I hope he goes back to Argentina, puts his feet up, has a good steak dinner, enjoys himself, walks casually down the street to Newell's, pops in every now and then just in his spare time, just to chat with friends, see how things are going, watch training, maybe talk to a couple kids, maybe give a lecture or something. Just pop in. Just live that retired life of like, why are you here? I'm bored and I'm retired. I can do what I want. Be that guy.
Don't take the L3 job. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Also, for those of you that don't know, the manager at Newell's Old Boys is now Gabriel Heinze, because everything is interconnected.
Yes, that is absolutely true. Word out of the U.S. Soccer Federation this morning, Sam Stejkal reporting that Christian Pulisic remains day-to-day with his pelvic contusion. Aren't we all? Josh Sargent is also day-to-day with right ankle soreness. Sargent came off injured, and Pulisic is going to begin his press conference shortly. And so, so both Christian Pulisic, Josh Sargent day-to-day, like the rest of us. Kefsi, Kefsi says, if I'm Tata, I'm staying and riding home with Argentina. Speaking of Argentina, how cool was it on the cool scale of 1 to 11 billion, Nick, that Thiago Almada got some reps yesterday for the Argentine national team?
Hey, look, it's money. The better he does, the more money Atlanta United can get when the sale comes. And so if you're talking about going from, I don't do the number scale. I just look at it purely X's and O's and dollars.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about getting them for 20 million, then you're now looking at selling them for 30. We want to talk about selling them for 30, 40 million because of the post World Cup value boom. Yep, I have no problem with that. So good for him.
Well, I mean, yesterday, Jarrett, looking at the numbers, I want to say that Thiago Almada, and let me find our friends from SofaScore with the background here. Thiago Almada punched to 6.9, which was dumb. Man, their ratings sometimes are weird. 13 minutes played, 15 touches, 13 for 13 passing at 100%. One key pass that almost led to a big chance created as they officially laid it out. And so 100% on his passes on 15 touches, key pass and a big chance created for Thiago Almada. So very, very cool stuff to see from an Atlanta United perspective, Jarrett.
It was. Damn near had the assist that put Mexico through, too. Remember, he plays that ball in, the ball's chipped over the keeper, and then one of the Polish defenders heads it off the line. So Thiago Almada almost provided the assist that would have put Mexico through, which would have been funny to me. I think with this entire thing, I think I'm more annoyed that Poland got through than I am feeling any sort of schadenfreude that Mexico got to go home.
Yeah.
Because Poland did nothing to earn this. They just kind of sat there and tried not to die and succeeded. But they did nothing to ensure their survival. They just sat I'm trying to think of an analogy that's not inappropriate about this. They just sat there playing paintball with everybody and just crouched down behind one of the obstacles, and then proceeded to watch everyone else get hit with paintballs and manage to not get hit themselves.
Yeah, they're campers in Call of Duty. They're campers in Call of Duty. They just post up behind the wall, and when everyone gets whittled down to 2 people, they pop out and go, "Ha ha! I'm one of the best!" And it's like you really didn't do anything. You get a participation award, and that's moving through to the next round. I mean, you could really see in that game where Argentina just, it looked like the English speakers in Argentina started communicating with the English speakers on the Polish team and said, look, we're going to pass around just to keep things, off the FIFA radar. We'll take a couple of shots at the goal, but that's about it. We're going to leave it right here where it is.
Okay.
And Poland goes, yeah, okay, cool, no problem. So now we don't have to worry about yellow cards. They're not going to score on us. Better 2 wounded than 1 dead.
Yeah.
So.
And Argentina should have stopped scoring just for the spirit of the fact that Poland just basically refused to do anything.
I don't know if I read all the trash talk that the Mexican national team and the fan base was putting forward this World Cup. The petty in me, and we all know that Argentina they specialize in petty. I have no problem watching L3 go home because sometimes you have to, you run your mouth. You're running up a significant credit debt there, and at some point it comes time to pay the piper.
Mm-hmm. Yesterday there was also involving the World Tournament. There was a press conference, and it involved Uruguay forward Luis Suarez. And he was asked about a particular incident from the 2010 World Cup, because as Uruguay and Ghana, they're getting ready for a rematch on Friday, or just a rejoining, not necessarily a rematch, but the two sides will be playing on Friday. So one of the most controversial moments in World Cup history, Luis Suarez denied Ghana a late winner in the World Cup quarters 12 years ago, deliberately handling Dominic Adia's shot on the goal line. Shown a straight red and conceding a penalty, wildly celebrated as Asamoah Gyan crashed his spot kick off the bar. Uruguay went on to beat Ghana in penalties. for the chance to become the first African side to reach the last four in the World Cup. So 12 years later, Uruguay and Ghana meet in the group stages on Friday. Winner will knock the other out of the tournament. Here's what Luis Suarez said when one journalist told him sections of the Ghanaian public describe him as, quote, the devil himself, end quote, and they look forward to his retirement. Here's what Luis Suarez said, quote, I did the handball, but the Ghana player missed the penalty, not me.
Yep. That's what happened. He did the thing, and he sacrificed himself for his team, and then Ghana, at the death, hit the post and rattled that thing 40 feet into the air. He made you earn it. You can be mad as you want. The man wasn't going to play in the next round, which ended up mattering. But
yeah.
Come on, I understand Ghana's upset.
Oh yeah.
I will never be mad at Luis Suarez. And this is one of my favorite petty anger rivalries out there. But he's right. Yeah. Basically, he was. The analogy I will use here is Ghana had a chance in a tied game, in a tied basketball game with 3 seconds left to get an easy layup to finish it off. And he decided to grab that big man, pull him down, and give up the 2 free throws as opposed to giving up the easy layup. And then the big man at the line missed both free throws and he went to overtime and lost. To me, that's about what it was. It's not a 1-for-1. It's about what it was. Mm-hmm. You made him earn it a different way.
Maybe I would apologize if I did a tackle, injured a player, and took a red card. But in this situation, it's not my fault. I didn't miss the penalty. The player who missed the penalty, he would do the same. It's not my responsibility how he shot the penalty, end quote.
Yep.
We're going full Gene Snitsky, too, of the really crappy era of WWE, but okay.
Yeah.
Of the it's not my fault era. All right. Let's do it.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Snitsky reference.
Look, he's right. He's right. It's, you know.
Yes, he is.
It was an insane Eddie Guerrero moment.
Yes, it was. And
you know, it is not Suarez's fault that the guy, you know, botched the penalty. Like, do better. You know, that's not. People could cry all they want about these things, but at some point you have to put the ball in the back of the net. You know, if Baggio hits the penalty in '94, we're having a very different conversation about his legacy. But you know, what you have here is, you know, Ghana had a chance and they botched it. That's them. That's not on Suarez. That's not on anyone else. That's on the penalty taker. The end. So if you want to keep hating on this and bring it up every time Suarez, you know, has a presser, by all means do so. But all you're doing is heaping more pressure on the Ghanaian side. So best of luck.
And the Ghanaian side has to be careful in this game.
Yes, they do.
Because if South Korea if Portugal decides we're going to rest guys because we're through, like they're already in. They have a 3-goal differential. They're in. They're going to win the group unless Ghana just absolutely blitzes Uruguay. I don't think that happens. But if Ghana gets too consumed with revenge and decides to go full Count of Monte Cristo, and South Korea jumps up and bites Portugal, it can get a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Ghana might doom themselves if they're not careful. They're going to have to play with a balance to this. They can't just go out and try and murder Uruguay.
Oh, man. Yeah, Kefsi is dropping in the frog splash over there, and at that point you sit there. This is when you pick up the metal folding chair, you throw it at your opponent, then you hit the deck, and the ref sits there and sees you on the floor and your opponent holding the metal folding chair. Yeah, that's on you. So that was
Eddie Guerrero would have loved that Uruguayan moments. Eddie Guerrero would have gone down there to meet Luis Suarez after that.
Mm-hmm. Shaking hands, and they would have definitely swapped championship belts. Did you see this? Poland keeper Wojciech Szczesny revealed he had a €100 on-pitch bet with Lionel Messi that Argentina's first-half penalty would not be given by VAR. Argentina were awarded the spot kick following the foul on Messi, but Szczesny saved it. Speaking about the incident, Szczesny said, "No, I didn't think the penalty be given. We spoke before the penalty. I told him I can bet him €100 he wasn't going to give it. So I've lost a bet against Messi. I don't know if that's allowed at the World Cup. I'm probably going to be banned for it. I don't care right now. I won't be paying it. He doesn't care about €100. Come on."
That's very Juve of him.
Well, I don't know. Juve should be worried about every euro they have. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let me write a check my ass can't cash.
Hey, to be fair, he saved the penalty, which had a .99 expected goals to, which means that he guessed right and went full extension into that corner and made the save. I give him credit for the save, but
yeah,
maybe Juve is not the perfect. Maybe Juve is not the perfect one to emulate right now.
No, they're not. No, they're not. But look. Szczesny, good for him. He's going through the next round. I was talking to a friend of mine in Poland, and he said, yeah, essentially we, meaning Poland, play the ugliest style imaginable, very, very negative, all defense, no attack, like not even focusing on the counter, and yet you have one of the best strikers the game has ever known sitting there at the top. And he's like, it's beyond frustrating. He's like, but we're through the next round, so we'll take it. But, good, Szczesny, take your moment. Take your moment. That's something you could tell the grandkids about.
I saved a penalty from Lionel Messi.
Right. So, it's going to be some dark winter's night in Krakow. You're going to be eating pickled soup.
Yeah.
And that's huge in Poland, man.
Oh,
Pickle soup is huge in Poland. And
that's
then
their problem, not mine.
And then telling your grandkids, over that steaming bowl of pickle soup about how you stopped the penalty from one of the best to ever do it. So good for you, pal.
Still a waste of one of the greatest strikers we've seen in the last 30 years.
Yes, it is.
All right, we got games at 10 and 2. So
yeah, we do. Let's hit those real quick.
Before the 10 o'clock games start, we'll talk about the 10 o'clock games. It is groups E and F today, if my math is correct. 10 o'clockers, Canada and Morocco. Morocco in the juice boxes is a -118. Your draw is a +248. Canada's a +374 in the composite. Croatia and Belgium. This one was even. This one literally, Croatia and Belgium. The juice box purveyors threw a blanket over both. They were dead even at one point, but Belgium has swung all of the dinero on their side. They're a +144. Croatia's a +202. Your draw is a +241. So we know that Canada is eliminated. We know that they're out. And so as you look at Group F, Croatia is at 4 points. Morocco is at 4 points. Croatia has a goal difference of +3. Morocco has a goal difference of +2. Belgium has 3 points and a goal difference of -1. So we have chaos possibilities. So the sickos might like what's going to happen possibly in Group F today. Nick, what do you think?
Give me the first matchup again.
They're simultaneous.
Yeah.
So it is Croatia, Belgium, and Morocco, Canada.
Give me Morocco and then give me Belgium to completely collapse upon themselves.
Wow.
They seem to be pulling.
Boy.
They seem to be pulling like an 0-2 France. They just seem to be collapsing upon themselves. There's like rumors of infidelity. There's you have infighting. Apparently, Courtois and De Bruyne have not spoken in years, even though they're in the same locker room. So there's all kinds of shenanigans taking place in the Belgians, and not to mention De Bruyne has been wide open with saying that they're too old to win it. This is not really a great team. I mean, just say it. He's out there just firing it away. So I don't pick Belgium to win anything. I think Canada, the balloon has popped for Canada at this point. Yes, Jason Nix, pickle soup.
Yeah, pickle soup. So Kepsy was asking if Modric was going to pull any magic today.
I mean, you can never discount it. I mean, it's possible.
Well, see, the key is that Belgium didn't give them extra ammunition like the Canadians did, but
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat.
We're going to F Morocco.
I can see Belgium just falling apart, which I'm kind of okay with because I really am dreading listening to a bunch of pundits tell me why we shouldn't be discounting Belgium when all the evidence points to, hey man, this was supposed to be Belgium's golden generation's last dying grasp attempt at this.
Last, yes.
Yeah, this was supposed to be like Belgium came out of retirement from one last job, and surprise, they got in there and the arthritic knee kicked up and collapsed in on itself, and they couldn't complete the robbery.
So it was like Goldberg going up against The Undertaker in Saudi Arabia?
Oh, man. You know what?
That's way past the time on both of those men.
At least The Undertaker could try and carry him through a match. I don't know if anyone can carry Belgium through a match right now, especially with all the infighting they got going on.
Yeah. I would say it's more like when McMahon jumped into the ring and tore both of his quads.
Yes,
just sat there and stared at everybody.
Just sat there and stared. Yeah.
Sat there and pointed.
Yeah.
Like, ah!
That's pretty much where it is. I want Morocco to do well, man. I want all the North African nations to do really well. That's my whole thing.
I do wonder if Canada has I wonder if they have anything left in the tank in terms of playing with control, but playing with some pride of, hey, we're done here.
Testicular fortitude.
Let's go out on our shield.
Well, yeah. Kefsi has really just warmed the cockles of my heart by bringing appropriate Klingon into the Twitch pitch. Canada. So yeah, you have Kefsi. You have warmed my heart on this day. Thank you so much.
I was wondering where that was. I was thinking I had no earthly idea what Kefsi, what LaRousse Kefsi had pulled that out of. So I'm glad that you could translate that for me.
That's right. Today is a good day to die.
Yes. Group E is your 2 o'clocks. And right now, Juice Box is at 2 o'clock. Costa Rica has exploded. They are north of plus 2175. Germany is a minus 909. Your draw is a plus 982. Japan and Spain. Spain is a minus 233. Your draw is a plus 370. Japan is north of plus 700. And your standings in Group E, Spain and Japan. Spain right now is 4 points, goal difference of plus 7. Japan, unless something seriously goes wrong, but they can't rest either. Japan is second, goal difference of 0. Costa Rica, because of that big 7-goal loss to start things out, goal difference of minus 6.
Jared, what are you doing, man? Are you reprogramming the Apollo mission?
I think so.
Oh, this isn't even my loud keyboard. You don't even know. I have a mechanical keyboard over here I got a mechanical keyboard over here that's like standing underneath a Saturn V rocket.
Oh my god! It's like the old timey radio show. It's like, hey there, Jane, type up this letter.
He's got the royal going.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
just an old Underwood typewriter.
So. Japan,
headline.
Yes.
Again, this isn't even my loud keyboard. I have one that's louder.
Flash, Jarrett Smith is typing the remainder of the show. Yeah.
Oh, God.
So, Japan and Costa Rica each have 3 points, and Germany has 1 point right now. But once again, remember, Spain and Japan are playing 1 versus 2. Costa Rica and Germany 3 and 4. Nick, in between fits of laughter, what do you think is going to happen here?
I think better 2 wounded than 1 dead. The old law applies. Spain is going to. I think they're gonna go easy. I think Japan. We know how they play. They know only 1 speed, so I think that's going to end up a low scoring affair to a no scoring affair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I think it's going to be a draw there. And Germany has got to figure out what they're going to do.
Oh man,
Germany's got to figure out what they're going to do.
Well, Germany's got to see. It's Germany and Costa Rica. Germany has to, if Spain and Japan play to a draw, Germany needs to, well, they need to win by, well, if they win by one, then the goal differential is the same, but Japan would have one fewer goal against.
Okay, so here's
Germany would have one more goal for. So
Yeah.
if they beat Costa Rica, they should be okay because they'd have more goals for than Japan.
Yeah.
Unless Japan, scores multiple goals in a draw or scores in their draw, and then we might get into some really deep sickos territory before this is said and done.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
We might start like depending on how this goes, we could be creeping into drawing lots territory.
Yeah, we could.
But Germany's gonna need to beat Costa Rica to feel good about themselves by more than one goal, which they might. Of course, man. Okay, we talked about this before the tournament. That like Keylor Navas can pull something out. Would it not be peak Keylor Navas to just pull out a world-class performance and send the Germans home?
Yeah.
Like 12 saves, 4 of which he has no business saving, and the Germans go home.
Yeah. No, I mean, you could have, if you could have a scenario where all 4 could go through, and maybe we could send Poland home just because you have that. So here's
we get it, Jason.
Here we go. Here's your scenarios. They got to beat Germany has to beat Costa Rica. They got to hope Spain beats Japan. Win for Germany, draw for Japan. Season finish level on points. Qualification decided on goal difference or goals scored. Follow head to head. All that stuff. If Germany wins, Spain loses. Japan is the top of the group, with both Spain and Germany level on 4 points. In that scenario, runners-up spot chosen on the group goal difference, with Hansi Flick's side needing to overturn an 8-goal deficit, then goals scored. Then in that scenario, if both teams' records are identical, head-to-head record is irrelevant since they drew 1-1. Second place decided on fair play points. Spain currently ahead -1, Germany -3, and then you get drawing of lots. As for Costa Rica, the draw against Germany is enough for their progression if Japan loses, but a draw won't be enough if Japan and Spain also ends level, giving the goal difference account as the 7-0 scoreline. So, Nick, we have that.
Okay, I say Japan, Spain get a draw out of it. I say it's going to end 1-1. No one can pass. It's Pasanacho for Spain. They can go all over the field, 6,000 passes and not score. So I'll say 1-1. And then it's chaos.
Yes.
In the with FC Funnel in Costa Rica in Germany.
So that's the predictions at 10-2 here for groups E and F. I think it was groups E and F. So we got games going on. One final note before we go here in the Power Hour, and thanks for hanging out with us as you always do. Jessica Charman from Queen City Nerve magazine was nominated Best Radio Personality, Best in the Nest for 2022. Queen City Nerve, for those of you that don't know, an alternative newspaper covering local news, art, food, music, entertainment events, and the culture of Charlotte. So Jessica Charman voted by Queen City Nerve and those who read the best radio personality in the city of Charlotte for the year 2022. So go, Jess. Very, very
good. Go, Charms. Way to go.
So we got that. So tomorrow we're back to normal. See if our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring will hop on at 9:30. So we'll be back on normal at 9. They come on at 9:30. Then we're off and running for the remainder of the day and rocking and rolling from there. And apparently, what is it? Morocco is already leading. Jason Nix?
Yeah, buddy. Let's go.
So
Morocco.
5 minutes in, Morocco with 5 minutes in, Morocco with a 1-0 lead on Canada at a -190.
Yep, that balloon's done popped.
Yep. So we'll be back at it again tomorrow. Once again, thanks for the Power Hour, and enjoy your matches at 10-2. So, Nick, go ahead and send us home if you would, please.
Until next time, everybody. Much love. Be safe and be kind to each other. And mucha Euro y'all.